What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. This one is something that is going to be pretty controversial, and I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this because it's something that I have been literally thinking about for quite some time now. And of course, my buddy Slesh the Rogue over at Wowhead has just written an article on it, and I think it's something that a lot of people need to give some thought about, right? Before they jump in the comments and get angry and say a bunch of crazy stuff. Let's just talk this through, right? Because it kind of makes sense when you really think about it. Now, let me bring this over on my screen. I'm going to share it for you guys so we can read through it together. Give me one sec. Boom. And let's bring this over. Perfect. Should Blizzard add highly contested items to the badge vendor? Don't jump down my throat just yet. Let's read through it. Everyone relax. We're having a good time. We're hanging out. Let's read through it. A feature added in Wrath of a Lich King Classic that carried forward into Mists of Pandaria Classic is Blizzard adding contested raid items from previous phases/tiers to vendors in exchange for currency. We also saw a form of this in Season of Discovery with the Tarnished Undermine Reels, though that also included exclusive items too. The concept in the Classic line was introduced with Heroic Alpha, Beta, and Gamma dungeons. This gameplay loop introduced currencies such as Sidereal Essence, which players could, for example, purchase an item like Dark Matter, which Dark Matter was a trinket highly sought after by pretty much every physical DPS, which traditionally dropped from Algalon in 10-man Ulduar. In TBC, we know that there will be more need for Badges of Justice later as more items will be added once Zulaman is released and when the Isle of Kel'Danas debuts. But what about adding something like the almighty Dragon Spine Trophy, DST for example, right, to a badge vendor? What about a unique currency like the one that we saw debut in Wrath of a Lich King Classic? This would give people some bad luck protection, and this is what I do really agree with. So if you're tuning out right now and you're like, no, that's not TBC Classic, just hear me out. Just keep listening, guys. Don't overreact. Relax. One of the benefits of adding items like DST to a vendor could be providing a path to still earn the item without needing to deal with losing rolls, not being selected via your loot council, or simply not seeing one drop. We'll address the length of TBC Anniversary later, but as we know, it'll be fairly quick timeline compared to TBC Classic last time. So some players are also discussing the idea of more loot per raid, right? This makes sense. And if you've been on Reddit, you guys know that there has been tons of posts about, like, if this is an accelerated timeline, why aren't we getting more loot per boss? Why aren't things like DST on the badge vendor after we leave this phase maybe? I don't agree with putting it on the badge vendor in this phase, but maybe once phase 2 drops, DST should be on the badge vendor, and it should be like 150 badges or something crazy like that. That does a lot of good things for the game. If you guys gotta, realize that keeps heroics alive. Think about if every physical DPS needed 150 badges come next phase. All the people that are behind would still be needing to do heroics, right? And then all the people that are ahead but haven't seen a DST, like myself, will need to be spamming heroics on a daily basis. This is just great for the game. It keeps the game alive. Now, arguably, it does, stray away from that original TBC Classic or TBC vibe that a lot of you are going to say you want, but let's be real, this is not original TBC anymore. Original TBC had 4,000 people per server, right? We're on servers with 100,000+ people every single day. There's a lot of things different. GDKPs are banned. This is that. Everything's hard res. Tanks are selling heroic runs. It's a very different version of the game. Now, I personally do think the bad luck protection has a place in this version of TBC, mainly because this version of TBC is seasonal. We all know that. Everyone here is playing TBC because they love it, like myself, but it's also a waiting room for something more permanent like Classic Plus, which we're hoping is announced this year at BlizzCon. So when we're in these seasonal versions of WoW Classic, there is a balance that Blizzard needs to kind of do, like a balancing act between keeping it close to the original experience so it still feels like the Burning Crusade, but making quality of life changes that enhance the experience, because the experience is going to be much quicker than it was the last time, right? If we're on an 8 lockout cadence before the next phase starts dropping, so many people are not going to be full bis moving into the next phase and the next phase and the next phase. So it only makes sense that something like this could potentially work. And I would actually love to see Blizzard try something like this. This was a major hit in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. The alpha, beta, and gamma dungeons were a huge hit. Everyone loved them. It was more content to do. It was extra content. It was catch-up content, because this is one thing, guys, that, you know, you got to remember. And that is that moving further and further into TBC Classic, right? The further we move into TBC Classic, the more and more people that usually drop out, right? That's just the natural progression of any MMO. So people drop out, and then there's other people that are like, oh man, I wish I started playing TBC. I have more time now, but now we're in the Black Temple phase, and like I can't jump in now and start playing. I'm so behind. Well, if these type of things were in the game, since it is a seasonal version of TBC, that person who thinks that they're behind and has no time to jump into the game, all of a sudden can now jump in and start playing the game and farm up their DST and all this. It'll take a lot of time, a lot of hours, but guess what? That's a lot of time and hours put into playing the game, doing heroics, doing the other raids, all this. You know, you've got to remember, Karazhan drops badges later on as well. So doing stuff like this, while it is different than the original experience, and I understand and respect that, there's nobody that loves the original TBC experience more than me and respects it more than me. I do think that in these seasonal versions of these old expansions that we're playing, these things do have a place, right? Now, I'd argue that in something like Classic Plus, if it's a permanent version of the game, I think nothing sped up should be a thing. I think it should be the same slow leveling. I think that none of these like catch-up mechanics should really exist. There should be like one catch-up raid that people can do. But the catch-up mechanics and things like that, there's no point. It's a permanent version of the game. Take all the time you need and farm the stuff that you need. It's never too late to start playing, because this isn't ending and it's being developed for the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever. That's a different story. But this, we know, has a definitive end. And a definitive end that's a lot quicker than the last TBC Classic and a lot quicker than the original TBC. So, you know, for me, I honestly think I would welcome something like this in TBC Classic Anniversary. It would entice more people to play alts as well. I think it's a good thing to keep the game alive, to continuously bring people into TBC throughout the whole experience, whereas once we get about halfway through, a lot of people drop out. You know, I would say that probably 70% of the guilds that are raiding today won't be raiding come Sumwell, but at least you'll get new people into the game that can catch up when they want, right? Like they can make a new character, come back, take a break, go play something else, come back again, and be like, oh, sick, I missed that, but I can go farm a ton of badges for it. That, you know, keeps the content rolling in the game. It keeps heroics live. It keeps the old raids alive if they're dropping badges. Things like that. So I personally think this is a great idea. I know a lot of you are going to be against it, and I'm down to hear out what you have to say about it in the comments below. But again, just be respectful. Let's have a real conversation about it. I always love to hear what you guys have to say, because you know that is something I love doing on this channel, is having open discussions and then speaking my mind in videos on why I think something is a good or a bad idea. You guys get the raw stuff here. I don't sugarcoat it for anybody. I'm not afraid of offending anyone with my opinion on the game. I say exactly how I feel about it. And I do understand that it is an opinion, right? It is not fact, but I have opinions on the game just as much as you guys do. And I would like to hear every side of the argument. So if you guys have anything to say about this, I personally think it's a great idea and Blizzard should potentially consider it. Drop those comments down below. Follow me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/hammerdance. We stream Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And subscribe to the channel if you love Classic WoW just as much as me. Guys, if we get a Classic Plus announcement at the end of this year, you guys are going to want to be subscribed to the channel, because this is going to be where you get all of that Classic Plus content. The news, the guides, the overviews, the in-depth, everything, you know, same as we did with SOD. So make sure you're subscribed if you love Classic as much as me, and if you're excited for Classic Plus to potentially be announced this year. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. Remember, be nice in those comments. I'll see you all in the next one.